Welcome back to Bitsbetrippin. This is your host Carter. Let's get into this. On today's episode, we're going to cover the HTC Exodus 1. This is HTC's first blockchain phone, and while it was priced at flagship levels at 0.15 Bitcoin, and at the time of purchase in October, that was roughly around $1,000, the stats for a late model 2018 smartphone is not too bad. Displays 15 centimeters IPS LCD at 1440 by 3120 resolution, has durability standards of an IP68, which is dustproof and waterproof. Primary chipset's the Qualcomm Snapdragon 845, has 6 gigs of memory and 128 gigs of storage of non-expandable space, a 3500 milliamp battery with USB-C type charging, a pair of cameras, a 16 megapixel and a 12 megapixel front cam, and dual 8 megapixel selfie cams. And yes, it does have a headphone jack. Pretty decent specs for the time, effectively an HTC U12 Plus, which if you want to know more, you can check out MKB HD's breakdown on a similarly designed phone, linked below. Now the real question of why all of you are probably watching this is regarding the blockchain phone itself. Most simply, the phone is a mobile blockchain node. However, not much else is known at this time if HTC is actually providing its own blockchain, or if the expression that they've used in marketing referring to a blockchain node is that it's actually a local light client on the public permission cryptocurrency nodes, such as the 3 native supported Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin networks. This still remains a question at the time of this video, because while we have received the HTC Exodus 1, little is still known about the actual device regarding development and its opportunities. No information was sent on the development kit with the device itself, and we had to do a request email get access to the SDK that we're still pending a response on. Once we get the basic technical specifications of the SDK, we can configure our IDE, our integrated development environment, and dig into what application development tools look like and if it's different than a typical smart contract development regarding the calls to interact with the built-in Xeon secure enclave that is part of the architecture of this phone. Given the size of full nodes, the phone's minimum step would be best as a lightweight node for the aforementioned crypto networks, which essentially become SPVs, or the Simplified Payment Verification, which only download the headers to validate the authenticity of a transaction. Effectively, this creates a trusted execution locally from your light node, allowing you to broadcast a transaction faster in the case of creating a transaction and enforcing it through in like a hex broadcast, but also perform the whole trust but verify function against your own local ledger. What the blockchain phone brings us, even in the first phase, is a localized ledger so that dApps can perform native verification functions within the localized environment. Having your wallet and your local key store where you own the keys and are facilitating the usage, say on a dApp, you effectively are digitally signing and broadcasting the network transactions occurred versus using third-party custodial service. Regarding the built-in software, as mentioned in the specs, the base OS is Android 8.1, and by and large the typical deployment of the standard Google application set that comes with Android. The one unique add, which I pointed out in a tweet on the 8th of December, that got a little bit of attention was the fact the Brave browser was included and configured as the default browser on the phone. This is a great step in the world of cryptocurrency, and the structures required to compete with other browsers in the space. Being set up as a default browser helps bring awareness and exposure to other options. Now in closing, while the BB team waits for the HTC response on the SDK, we are working to get service on the phone, which has been less than a good experience, and even as we do this review, have yet to establish a cell network that supports the phone. We will provide a second video with the full life cycle of that experience and go through what it took to get service on the phone. That way, if you receive years after that, we can hopefully save you a few steps. Look for that in the coming week. Additionally, you can follow us on Twitch, as I do live streams on there quite often, if you don't want to wait for a produced video. BBT still remains excited on the technical possibilities of a phone like this, and hope that the trials and tribulations that we're going through get enough exposure to help guide other product development, deployment, and other customer experiences. Please like, subscribe, and share, and we'll catch you later.